I'd like to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahawah, Bahashim, YAHAWASHI, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all you sincere Akim, pushing this word across the four corners of the world. And just another news update through the spirit, the power, and the vibration of Yahawah, Bahashim, YAHAWASHI. And as you can see through the spirit, if you are measuring the times diligently within itself, like seeing what's going on with current news or geopolitics, and you filter it out with the Holy Scriptures, which is that measuring rod, it's a lot of social and political divide that's spreading around the world, especially here within the so-called United States of America, where the spirit of unison or being in harmony is not a thing anymore, especially concerning politics. And as you saw those independent journalists, they be on social media and they be either at the Senate within DC or outside the United Nations building, and they be asking these different politicians, staffers, or even those members that work at the United Nations building, and they'll just ask simple questions like, do you support the ongoing war within Iran? And or do you put America first or Israel first? And as you can see, those people cannot even answer those simple questions. And more so, they may be funded by AIPAC, which is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, and they're afraid that they might get reprimanded or ousted and lose their political footing or positions within the current fashion of this world. We know how the story goes when you come against the Ish people, but the point of the matter is we're seeing a great influx of social and political polarization, and that political polarization is that widening gap or divide between political views or ideologies. And YAHAWAH told us that we was going to be witnessing a great significance of divisions and separations before his second coming. And we are definitely here within those times, hence the signs of our times. And that takes me to Luke 12 verse 51 within the NLT. And this is YAHAWAH prophesying. Do you think I have come to bring peace to the earth? No, I have come to divide people against each other. And this further proves that we're not within the time frame where this world is supposed to be within harmony, like everybody agreeing with one another. As it stated within Ecclesiastes 3:1, to everything there's a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. So therefore, the only ones who are going to be within that unifying spirit of planting, building up, embracing one another are the elect of the nation of Israel, not this whole world. Because look how these people are at odds with one another concerning politics, especially so-called family members. Which takes me to verse 52. For now on, families will be split apart, 3 in favor of me and 2 against, or 2 in favor and 3 against. Father will be divided against son, and son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, and mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. And just based off this, like either amongst family households or just families in general, it's a great political divide within the households, where some family members might be pro-Trump, pro-MAGA, and vice versa. And that component alone is creating a breeding ground for instability, chaos, and disorder. And that takes me to 2 Ezra 15 within the GNT, which is the Good News translation. And I'm going to jump down to the 14th verse, but as you can see from the heading, the coming disasters. And that's the vibration that's coming to this whole world, especially here within America, that main hub of wickedness, this sinful kingdom, Babylon the Great. And the word disaster goes into a widespread catastrophe or a grave misfortune or distress. And YAHAWAH again foretold us within Luke 21 how there should be distress upon nations with perplexity, like a lot of uncertainty and confusion. And again, this great influx of political turmoil is a breeding ground for disorder, instability, or chaos. So let's jump down to verse 14, and it says, the world and the people in it are doomed. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. And here's the point. There will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control, while ignoring the legitimate government, which goes into great social and civil unrest, insurrections, or rebellions of civilians against this so-called government. And the word political turmoil defines a situation where a country or government is experiencing serious instability, conflict, or disorder in its political system. And it says it usually means there is intense disagreement over power, leadership, laws, or policies, or the direction of the country. Now, we see that all the time, especially on social media, like any type of political or economic situation occurring, then you will see one group blaming Biden, and of course, the other group blaming Trump. But even amongst these MAGA supporters, we are now starting to see divisions amongst them. And it says right here, coming signs of political turmoil, mass protests or riots in the streets, government corruption scandals, hence this Epstein Files situation that has a lot of American political leaders on that PDF list. These pro-MAGAs beloved Trump is on there as well. So again, that's a common sign of political turmoil, which explains why you see more people are coming to the forefront, and they are saying that Trump was on that Epstein list, and Epstein was a Mossad agent, by the way, which is the Israeli intelligence agency, like another form or version of the CIA, where it's a lot of information coming out where Trump is being blackmailed by the current state of Israel, hence the Ish people. And it's also news that they help him when he filed for bankruptcy, and they help him to get back on his feet. So Trump is in their back pockets. He's bought and paid for, just like the rest of these American politicians and presidents. They have all sold out to the small hats a very, very long time ago. So through this great awakening period, a lot of people are now coming to the realization, especially these Trump supporters, that Trump is doing the bidding for the current state of Israel, for the better of Israel, and not for the better of the American people. So that shift alone is causing a great political divide or political turmoil. So again, the coming signs of political turmoil, mass protests or riots in the streets, government corruption scandals, leaders resigning or being removed or overthrown. And again, you're seeing more people are protesting or even commenting on social media about to impeach Donald Trump, and also remove these different local politicians who are supporters of the Zionists or being controlled by the so-called Zionists. So we're seeing deep division among these political groups. So back again within 2nd Ezra 15 verse 14, the world and the people in it are doomed. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. So through this political turmoil, which again is a situation where a country or a government is experiencing serious instability, conflict, or disorder in its political system. So very soon these different coming signs of political turmoil will start getting very violent. And mind you, you're going to have a lot of these so-called sleeper agents or sleeper cells that will be these agent provocateurs. And that word provocateur, it goes into to provoke, where they're going to be the main ones inciting these rebellions or civil or social unrest throughout these different mass protests, which will lead or formulate into violent riots, anarchy, hence civil war. And that takes me to Isaiah 19 verses 1, 2, 3 within the GNT. And the heading, as you can see, God will punish Egypt. And Egypt is a biblical codified name for America. And that's right, the Most High is definitely going to punish America, this sinful kingdom. He's going to inflict a serious punishment or violation or penalty upon America. First and foremost, by America being that main hub that touched the apple of the Most High's eyes, which are the biblical Israelites. So the reason why we see everything transpiring around the world is all for the controversy of Zion. And it says, this is a message about Egypt or America. The Lord YAHAWAH YAHAWASHI is coming to Egypt, riding swiftly on a cloud. And within today's time, people will call this cloud a so-called UFO. But in actuality, they are the chariots of Israel. The Egyptian idols trembled before him, and the people of Egypt lose their courage. And we are now seeing more of these powerful American spirits being broken, especially these MAGA supporters. They were very powerful and patriotic, but now they're feeling those same economic draconian measures that Trump is bringing upon them. And now they're losing their American powerful spirit. And it says, the Lord YAHAWAH BaHashem, YAHAWASHI says, I will stir up civil war in Egypt and turn brother against brother and neighbor against neighbor. Rival cities will fight each other and rival kings will struggle for power. And a civil war is a war between opposing groups within the same country. And you best believe that America will see a civil war 2.0. As is stated within Revelation, the 18th chapter, thus with violence should that great city Babylon be thrown down. Because look how America was so-called established. By bloodshed, by lies, by violence. So therefore it's going to meet that same fate at its end. And it says, I am going to frustrate the plans of the Egyptians and destroy their morale. And that morale goes into your enthusiasm or your confidence. And again, these powerful American spirits are being broken day by day. Now they're seeing the harsh reality of America. And now you're seeing more so-called white people uploading videos upon social media and stating how they feel what so-called black people have been going through and currently going through. But in a spiritual sense, those are the curses that are shifting off of us as the biblical Israelites, and now they're being transferred upon our enemies, especially from the tabernacle of Esau Edom, pursuant to Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, and the 7th verse. How these other nations are about to soon feel our pain, our sufferings, hence the curses. You don't feel sorry for these people or nothing. We have to do them as they did or told us. Hey, deal with it. So again, I am going to frustrate the plans of the Egyptians and destroy the morale. They will ask their idols to help them, and they will go and consult mediums and ask the spirits of the dead for advice. But what these people do not know, who are not spiritually inclined, or the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding of YAHAWAH BaHashem, YAHAWASHI, that these same left-handed or demonic spirits are all employed by YAHAWAH BaHashem, YAHAWASHI. And also pursuant to Isaiah 47:12, it says, stand down with thy enchantments, and also with the multitude of thy sorceries, and how these elites on the left-hand side are going to be weary with the multitude of their counsels. Like their strength on the left-hand side concerning these divinations, enchantments, sorceries, just pure witchcraft, it's not going to be within their best interest when they try to fully implement this left-handed NWO. Because those same left-handed spirits are going to stop working with them. All right, so back again within 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, within the GNT. I'm going to jump down again to the 14th verse. And it says, the world and the people in it are doomed. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. There will be great political turmoil with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government. And from the opening of this video, and you're going to see another video coming up, we're seeing a build-up to this scripture right here being fulfilled. How these patriotic Americans, if they're proposing these questions to these local politicians or these men and women within Congress or the Senate, and also different members outside the United Nations building out there in New York City. And they are only asking them simple questions. Do you support the ongoing war within Iran? Is America first or Israel first? And these people cannot answer, which further shows you the ones that you cannot criticize are definitely the ones who are controlling the world. And again, that's the Ish people. And it's no coincidence within these latter times how the wicked is being revealed. Everybody's pointing the fingers or the blame game towards the small hats or the Ish people, who are the chief house of Satan, which is Amalek. So the world is definitely seeing the wicked being revealed. So by this great awakening and how everybody's starting to find out who's engineering all of this political, social, and economic chaos throughout the whole world, it's the so-called 1%. Which these people, as you saw in the beginning of this video, and the other video I did a few days ago, how these Americans will soon crash out. Like when those independent journalists are asking those questions to those local politicians, they go straight mute and just walk off because they are all bought and paid for via APAC, which again is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. So when all hell breaks loose and these patriotic Americans cannot get their hands on the international bankers or the shadow government, so who will be the extension of these demonic figures? These same type of people that you see within the Congress, the Senate, your local councilmen or politicians, and it's going to get very chaotic. So that concludes the lesson right there through the spirit. And hopefully with that, you all is edified, you all stay strong, keep pushing forward. Shalom.